What challenges did you overcome during the development of the MACH reactor?
I think the first and by far the biggest, most immense challenge we had was actually filing the MACH patent and defending it in all the patent offices around the world. Because how patenting works is, for example, if you're filing it from South Africa, you'll do your initial filing here, then you've got a year to take it worldwide, international, as far as you want to go. But every country, or some of the countries are actually grouped together. They will all have, it's either a country or a region that'll have their own patent office. And you have to go through the same process with every single patent office all around the world. So you fight that battle over and over and over again. And we've been fighting it for the last probably 10 years. I think it took roughly 7 to 10 years to get the MACH around the world. It wasn't around the world in 80 days for sure. And it's a constant debate. Yeah. Legal debate. Remember, I'm a metallurgist, I'm a scientist, I'm not a legal person. Yes. But I had to very quickly familiarize myself with legal argument and what's the best way to technically to defend the reactor. And of course, I had my legal team supporting me, and they would translate what I say into things I could never understand. Yeah. And I could never believe it came from me. But that was the biggest challenge. Sure. Because that was a whole journey and a learning curve on its own. Probably more work than you would need for a PhD. It's like writing a thesis without a supervisor, without direction. You've got to have the vision, and you've got to know what to do every step of the way. So it's that was by far the biggest challenge. And then once you had the patent, it's no use having a patent and not making money with it. What would be the point? It's so much work. Yeah. So you've got to find a way to commercialize that idea, bring it to market in a way that you could actually earn a living off it. And I think that's every engineer's dream, actually. Nobody wants to work hard every single day of their life. And an engineer would love to reach a stage where he can say, I've invented this, I've patented it, I'm earning royalties off it, and I'm going down to the sea to fish or whatever. And I can make this sort of, what do they call it, passive. I can get this passive income coming off royalties and live quite happily. Yeah. So I'm sure it's every engineer's dream to do. It certainly was my dream. Yes. Because I'm inherently quite a lazy person. So I don't like working hard. I want my MACH working for me while I'm sleeping at night. Yes, of course. And that's actually what happens. So the next challenge is, how do you then build, coming from this very technical mindset of the patent and idealistic mindset of the patent, how do you then start thinking practically and come up with a design that's easy to manufacture, that you can mass produce, that will last, you're not going to get breakages and etc. And what materials are going to use, because you can't be too idealistic. Expensive material, or let's just say exotic material, come at a huge cost. So the easiest thing is say, let's just get the most expensive. You can build a MACH out of titanium and you probably make zero money on it. Yes. Because it'll just be that expensive to build. So So it was a matter of applying your mind to the different elements, the different sections, the internals of the MACH. Where do we really need the exotic stuff? Where can we get away with something a little less exotic, etc. And just, also the tooling, because we are doing things that were never been done before. So with the tiny MACHs, those venturis are 2-3 millimeters. So that needed real precision tooling to be able to accurately build a laboratory-sized MACH reactor, for example. And on the other end of the spectrum, the largest MACH reactor that we have currently does 3,000 cubic hours through a single unit, and the venturis are big. They're like small pipes, hundreds of millimeters in diameter. And to actually find the right manufacturers and fabricators that had the facilities to build those venturis, actually it wasn't possible. So we had to find a fabricator that was prepared to work with us and build the machinery that they would need to manufacture these large MACH reactors. So it was a learning curve all around, not just for Goldor. I knew what I wanted, but also for some of my suppliers, they also had to think out of the box, because obviously if they can do that for me, they know I'll always come to them. They'll almost have the monopoly on that supply. Because they've done something special to be able to build it. And I love that, because that's also protection. It's not so easy for people to come and copy a MACH. It is patent protected, so you would be stopped legally.
Yes.
But it's not easy to do anyway.
Sure.
Because just to get those large Venturis manufactured is going to be a challenge that they may not overcome.
Wow.
Right. So it's the building and the materials that was a challenge, and then I'd say moving on from that, those are all the physical things, and now once you had this fantastic technology, and that's a problem when you do too good a job at something. You do too good a job at something, then it doesn't break. Clients get everything that you promised they get. The unit does not break, doesn't need any maintenance, I mean zero maintenance, can last more than 10 years, can outlast the life of an operation, right? And when you start putting all of that together and you're trying to convince a client that this is everything you can do for them, they don't believe you.
Yeah.
The first thing is
of course.
They do not believe you.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You speak of cavitation, you speak of 5,500 degrees Celsius in the center of a cavitating bubble in the Venturi of your MACH.
Yeah.
And they say it's never going to last. But it does last.
Sure.
The fact of the matter is it actually lasts very, very well. And it's almost an education. So you've got to sort of get into the mindset of the client, educate them on how this is put together, introduce them to clients that have been running MACH reactors for as long as 8 or 9 years, just to satisfy themselves that it can be done. This is possible.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time when people take a MACH reactor, they'll say, I know you said it'll outlast this operation, but if it lasts 2 years, I'm quite happy.
Yeah.
8 years later, normally, they have a different story
Yes.
after a while, but just convincing the client that, there was an ad a long time ago, and I'm just borrowing it from Mainstay there. I'm not promoting anybody to drink alcohol, but I like the ad way back then.
Yes.
All these beautiful people sailing on a yacht, this big
Yeah.
Mainstay thing on the sail,
Yeah.
and then the punchline was, you can stay as you are for the rest of your life, or you can change to Mainstay. And what I say to people, you can stay as you are in your operation for the rest of your life, or you can change to the MACH,
Yes.
experience life in the world like you have never done before.
Wow, sure.